Hello friends, this is Growl. In this series, I start with a brand new character in World of Warcraft. No previous achievements, no gold, no anything. Fresh at max level with no connections to see how far I can go. The one catch, I recorded every single minute of the journey and I explained my thought process and decision making along the way. Whether you're just looking to improve your skills and pug your way up, or you just want to come along for the ride, I hope you guys enjoy. Hello friends. We are back on the grind. So we can do a little bit of checkup and just look at our gear and look at the dungeons that we have each day. Right now, I got some big upgrades at the start of the weekly reset, which is pretty expected. It'll be 204, and I'm almost at renown 40. I think after renown 40, it starts getting real slow. You know, just kind of using whatever I got, not worrying too much about stats or anything. The first week I was able to manage, I was able to get a +6 DOS, a 3 halls, and a 2 theater. And then this week I'm trying to build up my score. I snuck into this 6 wake that was very hectic. Then we've also done a 4 spires and a 2 miss. So the biggest improvements we can get to our score down here, this Plaguefall and this Sanguine. I think what we'll do is we'll try and sneak into these ones as low as they might be, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully once we get these two, we'll have a Mythic Plus score of like, you know, between 600 and 700. Hopefully we can use that to leverage our way into some better groups. And hopefully we get some drops along the way. Secondly, I wanted to show details too. I personally don't look at details a lot when it comes to like at the end of the dungeon. I feel like just kind of like thinking about those spells you're using, and you know, because no two dungeons are the same and it's really hard to compare, but I know a lot of people like to look at my details, so I'm going to start trying to show my details, like breakdowns after the keys, just so you guys can see. And here's my healing breakdown, which I think people will be more interested in, and you'll see that almost all of it's going to come from, you know, these 4 right here. Riptide is our low mana heal, Surge is our high mana heal, and then, you know, kind of our frequent AoE healing that we do is Fey Transfusion and Cloudburst. And then, you know, some of this other stuff will come in handy. We'll do a little bit of healing, but that's the bulk of it. So let's see if we can sneak into, we need a Sanguine and a Plaguefall. +2 Sanguine, this guy is a tank. Let's do it, let's do it. We could use the score anyway. Although who knows if he'll even accept us. Who knows if we can get in, even get into a +2. Although we're certainly qualified at this point. Alright, nice, we're in. Yo, this is scary, dude. Holy smokes. We haven't done a Mythic Plus of Sanguine yet. We just have to remember to take a trip back to our... Take a trip back to our Covenant Hall. After we do this, since that calling wasn't for this dungeon anyway. Our tank doesn't seem to have very much patience. Okay, nice, we're here. We're here and we're ready. What's going on with my game sound? There we go. We're off. Shouldn't be too tough. Now that we've handled +6s and +5s and stuff. Not too worried about a +2. For these animated weapons, they die when their host dies. They get summoned by these skirmishers or whatever, so we don't worry too much about damage on those. We're mainly just shooting down the skirmishers. You can see those guys disappear. Made pretty quick work of that pack. Alright, our tank's going pretty big. He wants to go quick. Looks like our mage is pulling thread on some of these mobs. I'm already kind of preparing for things to go wrong. We'll drop our healing tide right away just in case. It's sort of a preemptive measure. Once you start seeing mobs run at your DPS players and get scattered, that's when you can already start preparing for things to go wrong. Our mages are kind of blasting at 205. These ticks are going to be really important to interrupt because they build up stacks. And the more stacks they get when they die, they blow up. So we're kind of watching for exactly that right there, where the tick is far away and no one's really watching it. Gotta make sure we get the interrupts. We can also use our cap totem here. The big AoE stop on all of them. Yeah, these guys are blasting. And this is no waiting. We're just on to the next pack already. Maybe that didn't... Maybe that was a little early. We'll drop our Earth Alley because our tank went down. I would say I probably could have been a little quick to heal him. But at the same time, when a tank does something like that, when they run from a pack to a pack, usually you kind of make the assumption that they have a plan in mind. And they have like some sort of big skill active, or like, you know, they have a plan for, I guess. So I don't really expect them to fall over that quick. Oh, nice. We'll leave the chat open for this run. He says, Shami, you okay? You need to be slow. We're just gonna stay quiet. There's not really a point in saying anything. We could argue with him if we wanted to, but we don't really care about this guy. We're just looking for the score and the loot. You can call him an asshole after the run. Warrior's blasting. Now that it's on fortified, these bosses die real quick. We can actually just kill this boss before any of the orbs go in. Certainly makes things a lot easier. We're attacking at a rapid pace. We like to see it. Getting stuff done. I used my interrupt on just any random caster. I didn't really worry too much about what I'd stopped. Just trying to stop any of the AoE damage is good for us. We'll put the cat back for now, but if any more interesting things evolve in the chat, I'll let you guys know. But hopefully it makes you guys feel a little bit better that random tanks in Group Finder have mean things to say about me, just like they might say about you guys. Even though I've, you know, let's say I've played a few dungeons before in my life. We can use our Fate Transfusion here, although this stuff is dying so quick. We're gonna hide behind this wall a little bit, just in case any mobs target us. Red bindings, we gotta run away, and then right back when we get in, we're gonna use our Ascendance. Just cause, see lots of casts going off, and trying to make sure we stay ahead. We haven't really needed too many big healing cooldowns so far, so. Every time these Curse of Suppressions go out, I'm trying to remove it really quick. Can sort of be a deadly cycle when your DPS get cursed and they can't cast spells, and then the mobs don't die, and then they cast more curses. You kind of got to nip it real quick. Here's this bat that we pulled last time, I think. Being this bat. Although if you're not skipping too much in this dungeon, you don't need to pull anything fancy. So far, so good though. Can't complain. Drop the healing rain. Don't really know why. Guess it wasn't too necessary. This guy isn't doing too much AoE damage. Maybe it was just a couple of the little tiny guys that were meleeing some of our DPS before they got gathered up. And we're attacking. We're attacking quick. I see a spell on that guy, so I'm gonna interrupt it and get our cloud burst down. You guys should know the drill by now. Pretty soon, once we get into higher level keys, and might start talking about a little more advanced stuff, but for now, you know, we're just drilling the basics. Because the basics take you a long way, as you've seen. I thought it would be a long part of our journey before we got to Mythic Plus, but here we are. Didn't take us too long. We got lots of mobs here, so I'm going to throw down my healing tide right away and healing rain and just sort of prepare in case I need to do a lot of healing. There's this guy way out here that's doing these casts, so I'm going to kind of go over here and interrupt him and make sure he comes in. We also have this guy out here that's really low health. I'm going to kind of focus my damage on him just to kind of get him out of the way. It looks like our tank had the same idea. I have a spirit link too, but I don't know if we need it. I think we can just keep pumping heals and we'll be alright. The mobs are starting to die, so it did kind of look like we were falling behind there, but when the mobs are dying, we know that sometimes it can be hard as a healer. You're worrying so much about all the health bars, you don't see that, oh, the packs are just about to die. You can kind of fire off something you didn't mean to. We pulled a lot of mobs into this lantern, but our tank didn't keep them in there. It's definitely a little bit of an art form to keep all this stuff gathered, but we probably could have gotten maybe twice as many stacks. But honestly, I've played with a lot of groups at this level that don't use the stacks very well at all, so I'm not gonna complain. If we're using them at all, that's good for me. So I see our warrior got rooted, so I'm kind of watching out and making sure he's topped in case something goes wrong. These pulls can be pretty hectic in group damage because of these scribes. These scribes are always just throwing stuff at random people, and especially when you have a bunch of clothies that can take a lot of damage from it. Might seem like damage is coming from everywhere. Finally, a little bit of an opportunity to DPS. Although we don't want our tank to get too upset, so we don't want to abandon him for too long. Drop a cap totem there as his stuff starts to run out. Now we're on to the boss. We don't quite have Bloodlust. If this was a higher, like, tyrannical key, I might be a little bit worried, but on a fortified with a warrior that's got really good gear, I'm not too scared. So every time these ads spawn, they do pretty heavy AoE damage. We didn't quite see it there because we had lots of damage for them, but for the future as we move up. Yeah, this boss doesn't do too much damage, even on a +2. I guess you might argue that people are quite a bit over-geared for this. Like, when you're doing this on the first week of the game, your gear is not so great, but targeting us, so, and we got an ad that spawned, so we really want to make sure we use our astral shift there. That's the most dangerous part of this boss. When you're targeted by the beam and there's an ad out pulsing damage, you always need to be ready for to use something there. So I forgot to use my trinket. So one thing we can do is we can move this trinket somewhere else. We'll think about it. Let's just try and remember to use it, but if you find yourself having something that you keep forgetting to use, and like, for instance, you can see how buried this is on my UI, right? You might need a little bit of a reminder. Might need a little bit of a reminder to keep using it on CD, because it's really easy to remember to use all this stuff, right? I'm always using my Fey Transfusion because it's in the middle of my screen. Use our interrupt on any one of the random guys. Cap totem too, but this pack is basically dead. So we can't even bloodlust this guy. Guy's basically already only have like a minute on it, so it looks like we're bloodlusting the last boss. We're gonna run and pick up some of these ones. Someone's going for those, so we'll go for these ones. And this guy wasn't much of an orb picker-upper. That's okay. So in this dodging part, this is a great situation to use Spirit Walker's Grace if we need to. It's also can be good to save up some Riptide charges as well. I maybe made a little bit of a small mistake and I used all my Riptides before then, but you can actually save up your Riptides just for that moment when you need to move around. We have our, there's orbs to get. I was gonna say we can use our Astral Shift here, but yeah, so let's do this, right? Let's drop our Cloud Burst and then we'll just pump heals as long as we can, and then we can press our Spirit Walkers. We can kind of move around. And you can see we only had to deal with 2 of those mechanics, if you will, the grab the orbs and run around. So what you can do is at the very beginning of the fight, you can just plan out what you want to do, you know? So you can say, okay, for one of these, I'm going to use my Healing Tide, and then for the next one, I'll use my Ascendance. And it sort of removes some of the thinking or the worry about it, and you can just kind of play. But we're blasting ahead. As rude as this tank can be, you know, at least we're going fast. Can't complain about that. There's lots of stuff to dodge in this pack. This pack can be kind of dangerous. We'll step out of range right away so we don't have to worry about the bindings. This aura actually stacks up, and the more stacks you get, the less healing and damage you do. So you do want to take care of that pack. Anytime you're fighting those overseers, you want to take care of them pretty quick. We got lots of casters in here, so we're going to throw a cap totem down. Got to make sure to keep our tank topped. He's going to throw a fit. Now we have a Fey Transfusion. Walk over to him and make sure he gets that the heal benefit of it too. Drop an SLT just in case our pally decides to fall over again. We can follow this up with an Ascendance too, since there's not too much difficult left in the dungeon. These guys really want to go quick. Maybe it's a prop pally thing. I think our last crazy guy was a prop pally too, right? But that guy wasn't as rude. Normally I like to use my cap totem to try and interrupt the weapons on this pack, but used it earlier. Wasn't quite up yet. One thing that's nice about Shadowlands dungeons is if you look at our enemy forces, it's almost perfect. And you might argue that our tank's expertise of the dungeon led us this way, but we kind of just went in a straight line and killed everything we ran into. I think they're designed a little bit better so that, you know, if you want to decide to kill some weird stuff and skip some stuff, you can, but you don't have to. So these wicked rushes you can dodge, run quick enough, and you're far enough away from the boss. And Ghost Wolf helps you out quite a bit there, so. This one might be hard to dodge because we're kind of in the corner. That's alright though, because every 2 bleeds you get the shield and it'll reset. We also can use our this thing. We want to dodge it as well. Whatever this is called, soul shape. We did it. 68 rating. Can we get some loot? Ooh, we got a ring. Got a ring. We already have this. We have high mastery and this one's high crit. I don't think it matters too much. I prefer to use items that don't have mastery just because they help out my damage a little bit too, but it doesn't matter too much. Alright, let's get out of here. +5 Plaguefall. Did I get declined from this already? Yeah, he declined me. Let's give him a minute, and then if he's still looking, we can apply again. Hold on, which +5 Plaguefall was it? I assume it was this guy. I will apply to this guy's group again. We'll see if he's desperate enough to take us. Oh, see that? There you go. Sometimes they get desperate. Oh, nice. So we got a summon. All right, let's go. We're ready for our last. After this, if we can complete this dungeon, we'll have all 8 of the dungeons completed. All right, let's look at our gear situation. We didn't get much. It's upgrades are a lot harder to come by now. That's kind of why we were holding off on buying anything from the auction house or doing the world boss stuff, because once we do it, it's going to be hard for us to get upgrades. We can still get a few pretty nice ones though, and we need one trinket. And let's look at the trinket situation in this dungeon. There's no trinkets for restoration. Is there a trinket for elemental? Yes. Okay, we're gonna change our loot spec to elemental spec. That way, in case we get that trinket again. That trinket's not gonna be super good for our healing, but it's gonna be nice stats, and it'll, you know, it'll raise our item level at least to help us get into some groups. Alright, the tank says checking his route. Looks like the mage is ready to attack. I keep saying I need to buy invis potions, but I have not bought them. Tough. It's tough playing off stream. Normally I have my stream chat to remind me of all the things that I need, that I'm forgetting. But that'll be next on our list, is buy invis potions. Here we go. Our first mythic Plaguefall, and it's a +5. So this will be a nice chunk of score. We'll get some decent gear for us here. Okay, so our goals this run are, remember to use our trinket. That's our only goal. I think it's really helpful when you're playing dungeons to kind of think about things that you did wrong in the last run, and then things that you want to work on, and then just go into the next dungeon with that in mind. And just think like, okay, well, Like, this is what I'm going to work on. So I'm going to try really hard this dungeon to always watch my trinket and always use it. And just try and get a lot more uses out of it so I can get those stats and that free damage. I don't know what to expect from this pack. We'll just start with a Cloud Burst and a Fade Transfusion and just kind of have some healing stored up. This Fungi Storm is doing some AoE damage. We can use our Fade Transfusion to stop it. Here's Spitefuls again. You notice last dungeon we didn't run into any Spitefuls because it was only a +2. We'll only start getting the first affix at +4 level. So that's kind of why I drew that line at +7. Because +7's when we get another affix, it'll be pretty scary. Seems like we're taking some damage, so I'm going to drop a Healing Rain. Looks like our team's doing a good job of focusing down those Fungi Stormers, since they can be a little hard to stop. Oh, this one went right to the mage. I'm going to drop a Cap Totem on him. It'll stop that Fungi Storm, and then also it will kind of stun the mushroom and give our tank time to pick it back up. We'll interrupt that as well. Remember, I keep watching my trinket, so I have 1 minute on my trinket. So I have to remember to use it. And if you just do that one little thing at a time in dungeons, you'll get good really quick. If you just keep remembering, okay, this is something I didn't do very well last time, let me try and do it better. This Wonder Grow looks like it's buffing all these guys, so we're gonna purge the Fungi Stormer, since that's the scary one. I would say this first area tends to be the most dangerous. Not only is there some pretty tough mobs to deal with, but there's lots of stuff everywhere. It's very easy to pull stuff on accident, get bigger pulls than you initially intended. Oh, we got a lot of these guys. We'll drop a Healing Tide there, because there's a lot of mobs and we're scared. And all these guys are spawning Spiteful, so there's going to be a lot of Spiteful. We gotta get the heck out of here. Our Weakor is going nuts, pinging us about all the Spitefuls. But our tank, the Spitefuls don't spawn on the tank, so he says, look, I'll just keep going this way. Now we'll use our trinket because we remembered. Not the best use out of it, but hey, you know, our only goal is just to try and use it more. We'll put down a slow totem here too for these fights, since there's going to be so many spawning. Again, these guys, they slowly take damage over time, so we don't need to worry about DPSing them unless we have to. Oh, kind of surprised that didn't hit me, to be honest. Looked like I was right in that, but we'll take it. On to the next one, and then we'll have the boss room clear. Easy. Since the boss ain't doing much, we can just start blasting DPS. We can use our soul shape there to kind of negate the knockback that stomp does, just so we can stay in and cast as long as possible. Oh wow, this guy's getting destroyed. Well, this mage is 245. Okay, well that makes a little more sense now. Did seem like it was going a bit smooth for a +5. Not sure if he's just helping a bud or Valor farming or what. Well, actually, the more Mythic Plus we do, the more Valor we build up. And this Valor will be very, very useful for getting better gear. Considering how long it's going to take us to kind of grind our way up and do all the dungeons and slowly work them up, we can keep trying to save our Valor as long as we can and use it on only like the really important items. Alright, our tank has 6 stacks of this disease. And although I can't remove it, I can see it, so 8 stacks now. Now he can technically remove that off of himself, but you know, we're still pretty early on. We can't expect everyone to know everything. Then we move forward. It's a good habit with these spites to try and always move forward instead of letting them chase you away. Because if you're moving forward, you can just kind of continue on with the dungeon and it doesn't slow you down. But when you end up moving backwards, you kind of get in a situation where you have to like backtrack all the space that you just walked back. And these little things might not seem like a big deal, you know, especially when you're doing low-level dungeons, but since it is a timed format, it's a good idea just to always be thinking about time and always be thinking about how we can do things a little bit faster. This Plague Binder's a caster, so I'm going to put him on my focus, that way I can kick him right away. We have my trinket up, so I'm going to use my trinket. These guys can be a little bit scary in pugs. So what these guys do is they have a spell, Corrosive Gunk, and it puts a disease on everybody in range that stacks up. You can see this, only our tank got it. I guess, thinking back, we have no melee players, so this is actually great for us. So the disease will only be going on our tank, and it won't be going on any of our DPS, but if you're playing in a group that has lots of melee DPS, and you know, you got a warrior and an enhancement shaman and a rogue or something, it can feel like just an immense amount of party damage when everyone's getting that disease and it keeps stacking up. So this congealed slime has an aura that reduces damage by everything around it, so it's really important that we don't pull this with a lot of other stuff because it's going to be hard to AoE it down. One route that you can take is to stop the patrol as it's walking around. I could have stopped it over here, but also this option is, I think, totally fine in pugs as well. It's just to play it safe and wait for it to come back to you so you can kill it. Oh boy, this guy spawned on my head. Frost shock that. Still chasing me. Okay, there's our Plague Binder there. We'll put him on focus. Gotta move here, so we'll use our Spirit Walkers. Gotta make sure we're pumping our tank with heals. He's getting kind of beat up, but we're also blasting the pack real fast. Alright, well we got halfway through our trash count, which is good. This area is definitely an interesting area in Mythic Plus because in an organized group you do want to use these little bomb guys to try and go as fast as possible, but in pugs it can be a bit hard and takes a little bit of coordination. Okay, this guy has a disease on him, but he's not removing it, so I guess we'll use our Spirit Link. I kind of saw that one coming in slow motion because our tank was slowed in that explosion, so he wasn't able to escape. And we don't necessarily have any tools that we can deal with. Uh-oh. So I saw this out of the corner of my eye that we stop this tentacle here. I'm actually going to use my Earth Ellie to put it over there just to tank it. If there's a mob in range that's tanking the tentacle, then it won't shoot out at anybody. So I'm going to use my Earth Ellie to tank it while we can focus it down. And while that crisis was averted, unfortunately, one of the themes that we've talked about a few times is not releasing when you die. And we're not able to resurrect our... Oh no! Alright, we tried to bomb this guy. We tried to use these 2 bombs to bomb this guy, but unfortunately the Earth Ellie died just at the wrong time. Not too big of a setback that our tank released, because he's just coming back now. Although I could have kind of snuck a res on him at some point there. Yeah, so we have a little bit of a to-do list. We have lots of stuff that we want to use gold on, and you can totally see how having a little bit of gold, even if it's not a whole lot, can speed up your progress in Mythic Plus by quite a bit. Because just thinking about some of the things that we wanted to buy with gold, right? We wanted to buy all this crafting stuff with gold, but unfortunately we don't have the gold. We bought a little bit, but we could have bought much more. Use our trinket. Also making a legendary. Legendaries can be pricey, but they're also very strong and they can boost your item level. And then on top of that, leveling our engineering to get an engineering battle res so that we can res in combat would be very helpful as well. There's lots of different things that we could use gold on. This pack is 3 different casters, so now that everyone's kind of used their interrupts, I'm going to drop a cap totem just to kind of stun them all and help everyone catch up a little bit. Now I can use my interrupt on that guy. Use my slow as well on this shade. Now if we have a Necrolord, you can absorb these slimes and get the power, like the aura or whatever. I'm not sure if we have one. I don't think anyone that we're playing with has that covenant. But something good to note. We talked about the res points that we can get in Miss. And the vases or urns or whatever we can pick up and use in DOS. Those are like our 2 little specialties. Nice, so we're making good progress. It seems like we've cleared the whole second boss room, just about. Actually making very good speed. Oh wait, health stone. Hold on. Let's grab some of these. The one thing I forgot, I probably could have grabbed them earlier, but Warlocks can give everyone temporary like health potions. So whenever you're playing with a Warlock, you always want to grab onto those. To be honest, I don't even have them keybound really. I'll just put them right here for now. We'll put it right there. I'll maybe remember to use that keybind in case of emergency. Okay, so we're dodging this jumps while we're focusing the plague bomb. And then I think in pubs you should probably just focus down this slime right here. You can do some strategies where you try and stop it from running in and just keep it locked for the whole fight, but I think in pubs we'll just focus it down.
2, 1.
Or maybe just pumping lots of damage, so. I think we can just kill the boss, honestly. Maybe some are gonna go for the bomb over there, but see if I can just DPS down the boss. Looks like our tank is bringing the slime to the boss, so we'll do it normally. But a lot of times it's a good move for speed if you just focused on the boss really fast on this last part.
3, 2, 1.
And we're making great time. We got more than half the dungeon down. Still 21, 22 minutes. Yeah, we've seen the groups that we played with handle this area a couple different ways, so we'll just kind of wait back and see what our tank wants to do. Doesn't matter too much at this point, as long as something catastrophic doesn't happen. If we use our purge on these slimes, they won't drop a puddle. So when our space is limited, we try and purge them. Looks our tank backed up right into this tentacle. Not sure if we wanted it or not. The surprise in bugs. Looks like we're going this way. This tentacle can be a bit annoying to fight because you have to fight it in the slime stuff. I'm actually just gonna soul shape and get out of here. I'm gonna use looks like Ring of Frost. Our mage used Ring of Frost to stop all those spiders, so I'll hold on to my cap totem. Maybe next one I'll use it. These pulls can actually be kind of dangerous, so I'm gonna drop my healing tide and use cap totem to stop this shield. We don't have our cap totem for the stealth links though. We'll use a defensive just in case they jump on us. We're slamming. Interrupting these snipers can be really good too, because they summon the little spiders. But if you just interrupt them once, then they don't summon it. For a while at least. The spiders can actually do... Not only do the spiders do quite a bit of damage, but they can be really hectic for the tank because... just like a new ad that kind of spawns out of nowhere that they have to worry about getting threat over. Seems like my game sound is just a little bit too loud. I'm gonna turn it down some. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but now we lost. Doesn't matter too much if we lost this boss or last, but like at this point in the dungeon, we're kind of thinking we only have time to use one bloodlust, so don't mind just blasting away at this guy. But we have our trinket available. We'll wait till a couple of these ads come out and then we'll use it. Boom. Use our Fate Transfusion to blast all these guys. We'll walk over to get next to this guy. So this boss has a mechanic where you have to be close to somebody. And so if anyone ever has to run out like early or they're out for a long time, I kind of watch out and see if I need to run near them. I'm not sure if we have enough mobs because there's only a limited amount down here, but I think we're close. I think we should be fine. Just not familiar with the routes and stuff, so even if we aren't, we can always just go back up. You're never going to run into a situation where you're like stuck. Worst case scenario, you just go back to the start or whatever. It's definitely a time loss, but when you're this far ahead, you don't really worry about it too much. Seems to be the move of doing these guys in the back first. Not entirely sure why, but... The downside of running through the poison is I think you get like a... You get like a really big poison dot on you. Nice, so our hunter says, should I release? And I said, nah. A little bit trapped here. Looks like our warlock battle resed them. Since things are going so smoothly, it's not a problem to just battle res people this late. Although your battle reses are limited. We could have technically used the spirit link or something to save them, but... Kinda whatever. Save that for us. We're hard chilling on time. Could really use a trinket. Trinket would be nice. Not a super good trinket for us. It's only really like for DPS or whatever, but it'll just be a nice item level jump. Because right now our biggest barrier into getting into groups is gonna be our DPS, or I mean not our DPS, our item level. Unfortunately, when we apply to a group and there's a long list of people and, you know, there's other people that are higher item level than us, it can be hard for the group leader to justify taking us, so we want to try and make it as close as we can. We don't have Bloodlust for this boss, so we have to be a little careful. Although it seems like our mage just deleted the boss. It's always cool. Ow. The boss actually smacked me because the tank wasn't close enough. That's okay, they don't hurt too bad. Level. And we got this in the bag now. Uh-oh. Our hunter has fallen to the tentacles. I don't have a way to res him. Warlock could. I think we're okay either way. Right in the beginning of the third phase, there's some damage to heal, so we're gonna set up a lot of stuff. We'll set up our Cloudburst, Ascendance, get some Riptides out just to make sure we can do some big healing if we need to. Because really the boss is dead already, right? We could have used every single button if we wanted to. Gosh, we got 200 Valor for that. It seems like a lot. +2. No loot. Unlucky. Ooh, this belt. Does this guy need this belt? Oh no, that's an upgrade for him, unfortunately. I would have taken that belt. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll be releasing regular episodes, so make sure you subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and click the bell to get notified when the next episode is out. I also come out with regular guides for healers in World of Warcraft, as well as videos explaining UI and all other sorts of things. If you enjoy content like this, I'd also highly recommend coming to check out my stream at twitch.tv/yumytv, where we're always gaming there. The link is in the description, and happy keying.